Everything, everything gonna be all right this morning.
We are off to the races, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of a rocky start here, but we are going, man. This guy, man, I'm so thankful for him taking the time to talk to me today. He was one of the very first guests, Jesse, over 8 years ago, almost 10 years ago. He was one of the first guests on It's Me Speaking to You, and I'm thankful for he's back today. Man, it's been so cool watching his hard work just pay off over the years, man. He is the El Jefe over there at Shamrock Fighting Championships, and he's just been crushing it. Jesse Finney, welcome back to the show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me again. I look forward to spending some time with you.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you, again, taking the time. I know you're busy. So last time we chopped it up, man, I mean, I know we don't have much time, but a good origin story, man. How did you get yourself into the game? You're not just a promoter, man, but you were once a fighter. When did the bug bite you, the MMA bug, my friend? I know we probably covered this in that first episode, but a recap if you don't mind.
Yeah, so long story short, essentially my stepfather was Robert Biggs, fought Bill Wallace on ABC Wide World of Sports back in the 80s. He was United States kickboxing champion for 11 years. And then he owned he was a real deal back in the 80s, essentially, right? So, he fought Gene Theriot, he fought Bill Wallace, he fought the Who's Who back in the day.
Nice.
And essentially, my mom married him, I guess. Well, I don't know if they got married. They got together when I was like 9 years old. So he helped raise me and make me the man that I am today. So probably 8 or 9 years old.
Nice.
And then I started competing in amateur boxing, amateur kickboxing at the age of 9 or 10. Absolutely loved it. Got into wrestling for a couple of years. And then essentially, I played baseball through high school. Then I was a decent baseball player, so I guess my junior year I stopped doing kickboxing and boxing, amateur boxing, kickboxing, and got basically into full-time baseball just because it was taking me a journey for college. And as much as I was going to college to play baseball, not really as much to go to school as much, I should say. I just loved baseball. I absolutely loved it, and it was a way that it would pay for my education,
Nice.
right? So I was able to get my education paid for through baseball, and then essentially I wasn't good enough to move on for baseball, is in the long story short. And then I was 21 years old to get out of college, and so I was out of it for about 5 years, out of the kickboxing, the boxing, or the amateur kickboxing world. And then my stepdad was like, "Hey, if you're interested, let's pick this back up." So I shouldn't say it. I went to him and asked him to pick it back up. He didn't come to me. I came to him, and he never pushed it on me. Never did anything like that. My dad played baseball through college. My uncles played baseball through college. So we came from a baseball family, and then that's basically it. And then from the journey started with amateur kickboxing to professional kickboxing. In the early, I guess late 90s, and then essentially we started Shamrock FC in 1998.
Wow.
I know it's crazy. Started Finney's kickboxing back when we started back in October of 1997. So I was really just I was fresh out of college, and
Wow.
we were going to these local shows, and just for me, it was great. They were awesome. They treated me like, royalty because I was Robert Biggs' stepson.
Yes.
And then, so I was like, man, this is just great. But I always knew there was a different entertainment aspect of it, right? As far as, making it a night out and not just, turn some lights on and putting a cage or a ring in the middle of it. And I wanted to make it an experience for everybody. So July of 1998 at Carpenter's Hall off of Hampton Avenue in South St. Louis, Missouri.
Wow.
So back to my real father was a carpenter. So we got Carpenter's Hall, and that's how we started. And even in our first show back then, we did white linens on the tables, and we did, probably $6 bottles of champagne, and just nice. And we did like red carpet when you're walking into Carpenter's Hall, right? We gave free tickets away to the limousine company just to park the limousines out front. And just, if you're going to, I could tell stories forever, just, making fun of ourselves essentially.
But no, you were almost like you said, you were creating an experience. It wasn't just fight night. You were creating, a night out, an experience, fight night.
Yeah. And look, I was 23 years old, 23 years old, 24 years old. And, it was, you know what? And take this back. It was July 11th of 1998 because it was my birthday. My birthday's July 11th. So that should tell you the date. And so it was one of those things. I was so young and, in the scene of going out all the time, right? So I knew a ton of people, and fresh back from college, I was fighting. I played baseball in St. Louis. So I knew a lot of people, and it was just one of those things, and just kind of a networking thing. Everybody would just come to our events, and we did two or three events a year, and then it just built from that to where it is now, and we're on our 355th event.
I was going to say, and the rest, as they say, is history, and you're absolutely right. If you want to go check it out, ladies and gentlemen, shamrockfc.com. Like you said, 355, man, many moons later. You're talking June 8th, he's got some shows going on, and then 356 going on July 13th, a couple days after his birthday, and it's really cool, bro, because like you said, you really lock the state down. You hit the west side of the state with the Kansas City at the Ameristar Casino, and then you have St. Charles here, the Ameristar Casino, incredible venues, and like you said, man, you've taken obviously the production level to another level, and that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about, man. You've had some incredible, some of the fruits of your labor has been some of these TV deals you've been able to land. Talk to a little bit about that, because that's been happening a lot for you.
Yeah, well, thanks for the kind words. We started in Kansas City, I guess, in 2002, 2003, something along those lines, and we're at Ameristar Kansas City right now, and then we're at Ameristar in St. Charles right now as well. We do River City in St. Louis. It's busy, but it's great. And, one thing I'm very proud of is that, if you come to our shows and the events, it's a true experience. It's not just coming to a fight. It's a true experience. And people that have never been, they come and they're like, man, that's like way more than I thought it was going to be. Being the experience, right? So I'm very, 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 very proud of that. And as far as moving on to the streaming and TV deals, we were with Fight TV, and then we got picked up by Triller when Fight was sold, and Triller picked us up. So that was great. Really helped with our networking and getting the brand out there a lot more. And then we had a deal that we were in, all over the United States, in Chicago, Boston, Philadelphia, which was great, but we never had the Midwest. And for some reason, Bally's or Fox Midwest would never pick us up locally, just local events. They just were kind of behind the times, bottom line. And every other state was picking us up from, Chicago, everywhere else, every network. And then Bally's decided probably about 6-8 months ago, they came in, they picked us up. So all of our events are they're on 2-week tape delay, but they're all over the Bally Sports, and we're over 150 million homes in the United States. So that's wonderful. But we're still streamed live on Fight Night on Triller, and just trying to keep doing what we're doing, just trying to pick it up and do it a little bit better at a different level, right? And,
absolutely.
And here we are, 300, this many shows later, and July will be our 26th year for events, and we got some really great things happening here that we're gonna probably announce hopefully by the end of this year, which will put us into 30 years in the event space. And the St. Louis market's been wonderful to us. Kansas City market's been wonderful to us. And, we were doing shows for Chuck Norris's World Combat League. And from 2005 to 2007, we ran the whole organization. Like, we ran all the operations and did all licensing and did all that as well. So we've done shows from LA to New Jersey to Denver to Austin to Dallas to all over the country. We did a lot of deals like that as well, where we come in as a subcontractor and run their organization behind the scenes. And it's been great, throughout all the years. So I couldn't do it without the team that's around me. And,
for sure.
And most of our guys have been with us, 10, 15 plus years. And I mean, just one of the guys that run our backstage is Mike Green. He's been with us for 25 years.
Mean Mike Green, shout out.
Yeah, exactly. He's been with us 25 years. Rob Doniker's been with me from day one, who runs all the operations as a matchmaker. He's been with me 26 years, 27 years, actually. So just a lot of the guys, it's kind of crazy, man.
Without a shadow of a doubt, and it's something I've always said, man. Any venture, especially in business, man, the success is oftentimes determined by. You can have the best concept in the world, but if you have not assembled the right team to execute that concept, it's really all about building that right team and the right nucleus, man. And you guys definitely have, and obviously, like you said, the testament of the mean Mike Greens, the Rob Donikers, the people who've been with you for so long to help create that foundation. And it's so cool to watch you guys build on top of it. And like you said, 355 events later and all the TV deals and all the accolades, that's really a testament of the hard work you guys have put in. So June 8th, 355, that's going down here in St. Charles, Missouri. What are we looking at, man? What's our main event? What's the scraps looking like that night?
Yeah, so I mean, it's June 8th, Kansas City. Then we're
my
back
bad,
here
my
July
bad.
13th. Yep, yeah, no, but you said it right earlier. But trust me, I get confused myself all the time. So don't worry about that. I mean, it's we're really like the Kansas City market is. It's a great market. It's been amazing. So, I mean, like right now we're sitting here as we speak with like less than probably 150, 200 tickets, and we're on the Wednesday of a fight week. So it's good, man. I mean, it's kind of it's a great market, great venue as well. So our main event that night's going to be Tamaine Babalua and Cesar Gutierrez, which is great, which is a heavyweight bout, which is going to be a really interesting, fun fight.
Nice.
We got Glendale Whitney, who's an absolute animal, coming in. He's fighting Carlton Little, which is another good one. A guy you really need to keep an eye on here, and I don't say this very often, because most of our guys that I say that about usually move on, and then we're very proud of them. But there's another guy's name is Thomas Gant, Gantt. He's actually out of East St. Louis, Missouri. He's a wrestling coach for Shamrock State. He's an absolute savage, and he's in the third fight of the night, or the third to last fight. So I mean, we got some dynamite fights.
Always.
It's going to be. Yeah, it's going to be great. And then we come back, and Lucas Clay is going to be headlining July 13th, and Dustin Lampros as well. So we're rolling. We're rolling. And then we'll be off the month of August, and then we'll go August, and then we're off August, and we go September, October, November. And then we'll dive into next year. So just hopefully within the next 30 to 45 days at the most, we'll be able to announce our 2025 schedule.
Nice, man. Staying busy, man. It's a good problem to have. And on that 356 July 13th card, someone who I've had the absolute pleasure of calling a couple of his fights, the young baby-faced assassin, man, Thomas Blackerby. Remember the name because you will hear it again, man. The kids, I caught him up in Cage Aggression up in the Quad Cities, and then you got him fighting on your card July 13th, 356, but I'm going to do everything I can to be down there for that. And again, remember that name, man, Thomas Blackerby. Shout out to him and his father, Ryan Blackerby. But Shamrock.
Yeah, so I do want to touch on that.
Yeah, go for it.
Here, but like Ryan Blackerby, his dad. So I mean, I remember the name, and growing up in like the late '90s, 2000s, like with his dad had just a great camp and a great fighter, and really Rob Doniker brought the fight to me, and I said, "Is that Ryan's son?" And it actually kind of made me feel really, really old. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm like, wow. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, dude, let's do it. Like, so it sounds great. And then like ever since that we've got the young man on, like, you've reached out. A couple of people are like, dude, this kid's legit. I'm like, well, his dad was legit. His dad's camp is legit. So I mean, I can't wait to hear his first leg kick. I can promise you that. Because I just remember those guys, and they were top notch to deal with. And we're looking forward to, bringing these guys up and, moving the next guys on, the next superstars, man. I mean, like, listen, our last show we just had here in St. Louis, Sean Shelby was here, Uriah Faber was here, Buckley was here. I mean, all the guys were here. A lot of the guys, some other guys I really can't name from the UFC were here, just watching. And, it's just like, wow, man, it's just kind of crazy where it's going. And then you see these young kids and these savages, right? And I can tell you, I think that Lucas Clay is one fight away from the UFC. I think Dustin Lampros is one fight away from the UFC. And, we've had a lot of talk just in general. So, like, a lot of these guys they're right on the verge, man. So I'm proud of them, of what they do. And, we're just giving them the platform to do it, and
without a doubt,
just try to make it a great experience for these guys, and make sure they're, there's one thing to get to the UFC, there's one thing to stay in the UFC.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm a big believer in that with these guys. Is listen, a lot of guys. Yes, it's extremely hard to get to the UFC. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's not crazy to get there. But you know what? It's really crazy to stay there.
Yeah.
So just when you get there, just be ready. Don't rush it. Take your time, and then because it's gonna be harder to get back in your second time than it is your first time. So in our last fight, Max Choria lost to Darian Weeks. It was an amazing fight, and Max Choria is I think 21, 22 years old, 23, whatever. And he's all disappointed, and I'm like, hey buddy, this is a blessing in disguise. I mean, just take your time, because you got to the UFC maybe, and you know what, you went 0-2, and boom, you're done. Then you're gone for another 3 to 4 years, and you're gonna work your way back up.
Right.
You're only one or two fights away. Just chill back out, relax, do what you gotta do, and we'll see you in the UFC in probably a year and a half.
And you're so correct. I make the joke all the time, man. Some of these kids, they're almost born with blue belts. I mean, they're just coming out savage. I mean, there's some of these kids who are leaning in. And again, going back to Thomas Blackerby and his crew, his foundation that has been set for him with his family, his associations, his partners, his faith is a huge part of his foundation. And I think that's going to equate big time to his success. Like, you can have all the skills in the world, but if you don't have that right crew to help cultivate it, and I think a lot of these kids I've been seeing coming up, man, they got the right crew around them. So, I mean, like you said, you get in that UFC and all the accolades, all the potential money and all of that, things can get sideways real quick. So, I'm definitely stoked to see. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that you're spot on. I mean, like, the thing is like a lot of these kids, like, if you have the Blackerby name, you have these names, and it's like you have respect already because of the people that have been, what his dad has done, right? But like at the same time, he's got to prove himself.
Yeah.
But you know what? Don't forget something. You're also going to have a target on your back.
Right.
So, like, at the same time, like, make sure you're ready. Surround yourself with really good people that are good humans in and out of the cage, and that, you respect and you trust. And then all of a sudden, it's just kind of weird how the right things happen when you do that.
Yeah, it's so correct.
And there's no need to rush it. Like, if you're in your, if you're in your 30s, yes, you're gonna have to rush it. If you're in your early 20s, there's absolutely no need to rush it.
Yeah.
I mean, just like Austin Banshee, I don't know if you knew that name, but just remember it, right? He's our 135 champion. He's out of Michigan. He just signed last week with UFC, which is great. We probably need to promote that a little bit more. But just remember that name, and I'll tell you why. Because he's got the right attitude, and he was 19, 20 years old. He was fighting for us. He beat Ariane Zeki. I talked to him afterwards, and I said, what are your goals? Like, what do you want to do here? I'm like, I could probably, help you. And I don't want anything out of it, but I can make some phone calls and probably connect you with the right people. And he said, sir, I'm in no hurry. He said, I want to get there and I want to be ready to be there.
Wow.
And here we are, 2 years. That's 19 years old. And you're talking, I mean, Bellator was going to sign him for a $100,000 contract, right? And he was like, I want to take my time and get there. And then when I'm there, I'm going to and then I'll be ready, and I'm going to make millions.
Wow.
Like, wow. This kid's got his head on straight.
Yeah, man.
So, like, I admire kids like that, and I think that's the right way to go about it.
For sure.
And, or a lot of these kids just want to rush and just have their Instagram say that they're
exactly.
And it's like, go talk to Pat Miletich.
Yeah.
You want something, like, go learn from the good guys, man. And, like, take your time. You know what? And you might want to just listen to some OGs around you.
Yeah. Close your mouth, open your ears. Yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I know you got a slide, but I got to do 2 questions real quick, man. If it happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
2 questions. McGregor, Chandler, if it happens, which way does it go?
I go back and forth on that. I really hope that fight happens. It's not looking really promising. I can tell you that, but I think it's here. I'm not gonna play wishy-washy here, but I will say I think it can go multiple ways.
Yeah.
I think Chandler can absolutely out-wrestle him all day, every day. And if you look at the guys that McGregor has fought, they didn't even want to put him against Chad Mendez because they didn't like him fighting wrestlers.
Right.
And I get that because he's a massive, massive superstar. Okay. This is probably 8 years ago when he fought Chad Mendez, 7 years ago. I don't know.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, and Mendez took the fight on 2 weeks' notice, and he absolutely dominated him with wrestling.
Absolutely.
Look what Khabib has done to him with wrestling. Okay, if you go and you fight him the way that UFC does not want, or or anybody wants is you can out wrestle him. Okay. But also at the same time, he can also clip you. Unfortunately, and I'm friends with Michael, so like I hate to say this, Michael he gets hit too much, right? He gets hit too much. He gets clipped a lot early. Can he actually take a shot from McGregor straight down the pipe? He's got pinpoint accuracy. He knows how to find that button really good. My heart says Michael, and I sure hope he does it. I just hope that he can withstand getting clipped 1 or 2 times from McGregor.
I've never been a fighter, never been in that world. I know they talk about ring rust, and there's these certain intangibles. Michael's been active, even though he might have propensities, like you said, to get hit a lot. Conor has not looked good. He's been partying. His body, I don't think, and definitely his hunger is not the same, and his motivation is not the same. He definitely has the skills still at the end of the day to pay the bills, but will it rise to the occasion of somebody who's been in the cage and been a little bit more active? I think activity might play a role. I think that's just
absolutely, and an injury for McGregor, right? It's a horrific injury.
Yes.
And also, like, I'm in Michael's mindset. I really believe Michael's mindset is the intangible here, and I'm going to go Michael Chandler. And I think a lot of people will say I'm crazy, but I really don't. I mean, I just think that Michael can, if Michael goes in and wants to wrestle him for 3 or 5 rounds, he can do it.
Yeah. Now,
does Michael want to go in and be an entertainer? Michael could do that as well. But I think Michael Chandler is a more complete fighter altogether. You don't walk on the University of Missouri and as a walk-on and become an All-American, like Michael Chandler does, unless you're just an absolute savage.
Well, and like you said, I agree. It could go many ways. Last question, my friend. If it happens, Bones, Miocic, how's it play out?
Jones, all day, every day.
Yeah.
I don't even think that's John Jones is the baddest man in the world. There's just no ifs, ands, buts about it. His reach, the way he can cover, his wrestling. And his mentality. He's just. He makes it look easy.
To take 3 years off and then come back and beat the top heavyweight was just like, all right, this conversation's over as far as.
He's just a different breed.
He is.
There's no one on the planet. He's pound for pound the best. He's a pound for pound the best ever. Just the things he's done outside the cage is really, hindered his career. But, when you get 2 brothers playing in the NFL, you probably have some pretty good bloodlines as well.
You're coming from some decent stock. Yeah, you're coming from some healthy genes there. Jesse, man,
Absolutely.
I thank you so much, man. Shamrock Fighting Championship, ShamrockFC.com, June 8th at 3:55, and then we got 3:56, July 13th. You can find out it all at ShamrockFC.com. Thank you, man, for coming on so many moons ago, and I'm so proud of you, man. Tip of the cap to the whole crew that'll help facilitate and everything you guys are doing, man. I can't wait for the big announcement, and I can't wait to keep following you and your success, man.
Appreciate all you do. Appreciate all you do for the sport as well. So appreciate all the support, and you guys have a wonderful weekend. I hope to see you soon.
All right, Jesse Finney, El Jefe over at Shamrock Fighting Championship. Peace so much love, guys. You know what it is. There'll always be more.
You.
See ya.
Bye-bye.